Hello, and welcome to the Trans Agenda, a podcast by TransClinique. I'm your host, Niko, and I'm a trans man, and my pronouns are he and they. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be right here talking about the Trans Agenda. In this podcast, we'll delve into the unique challenges and experiences of trans folks, highlighting the voices of those who have lived it themselves. We'll explore issues such as navigating medical and legal systems, finding acceptance within family and community, and combating discrimination and violence. Our guests will share their personal stories and expertise, providing valuable insights and perspectives on this often misunderstood aspect of the human experience. Join us as we strive to educate, inform, and advocate for trans rights and visibility. I'm including that. Hi, welcome to the Trans Agenda. This is Vera.
Hello!
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Vera. I'm a Virgo, I'm a drag king, I'm Armenian-American, I'm trans and non-binary, and wow, am I happy to be here.
So this is actually your second interview today. You're just really making it happen. Tell us a little bit about what is it like being interviewed as a drag king in San Francisco? Being not just performing, but being interviewed.
It's really amazing. I am always just so honored to be able to share about the drag king experience. And from an I statement perspective, I don't speak for all drag kings, of course, but I love all of us. I love uplifting what we do. I love uplifting how diverse we are and how across all spectra we are. Some of us are trans, some of us are GNC, some of us trans and GNC, some of us are not at all. And it's just really, really wonderful to uplift both our history and just all the ways that we are contributing to the drag scene and the drag community. Yeah.
I love that. So how long have you been doing drag?
8 years. Can you believe? Yeah, it's been 8 years of doing drag. But before that, I had been kind of around the scene for a long time. I was just thinking back that I started going to the White Horse in 2005. And then I started being the tip monitor at Rebel Kings shows. Mm-hmm. Then I became a backup dancer. Then I became a duet partner. Then I became a troupe member. And now I'm the co-host.
Okay, so it's been a journey for you.
It's been a journey.
Yeah.
I used to be crawling on the floor, picking up other people's tips, and I still sometimes crawl on the floor and pick up other people's tips. I do the same thing. Yes.
Everybody does, I think, if you're involved in events,
yes, any kind. We're helpful people.
Did you always want to be a drag king, or was it something that came to you, or,
That's such a good question. I loved the Rebel Kings. I loved the drag kings, and I loved performing. I started out more in the dance world,
okay,
and then more in the kind of performance and theater world, and then when this is a little known fact, but when the Rebel Kings asked me to join the troupe, I wasn't really full blown kinging, so they let a mystery meat in. They took a chance. They took a chance on a and that kind of me wanting to king and that happening kind of happened simultaneously.
Yeah.
I was Joey Gelato's drag parent before I was a king.
Okay.
Yeah, which is very sweet.
Yeah.
And he was a king before me. So it was a wonderful journey, and I'm obsessed with drag kinging. I love it.
Yeah.
I found my gender through it. I have all these beautiful children who helped me on that gender journey, all my drag children, and I just can't imagine. And I love now building a drag king community just across the nation, with other drag king friends, and we're all really close.
The meme pages are really good.
Yes.
So you should check that out.
Why no kings?
So I know, I love that. So anyone who's ever seen you perform knows that as soon as the lights turn on, you have an energy that you bring with you. You really do. I really enjoy watching you perform. I'm always where does that, so when you're thinking about performing, where does that come from for you? What is your inspiration for performing?
My inspiration for performing. I love leaning into the weird. So it will be, whatever I do, I try to bring my own unique brand of energy and weirdness. I love different genres as well. So it will be what song speaks to me. I love metal. I'm gothletic. So there's like the metal goth fleet. And then there's the dad. Some things are very derp dad. And I love leaning a lot of fanny packs. I love leaning into that. And I've been leaning more into like a little more glammy dance-a-thon, which is what I did, tonight. And so that's kind of on my mind. But then I've also been leaning into like my Armenian-ness, which has been really sweet, and a lot of like incorporating kind of belly dance numbers. And I did a dance residency at Counterpulse where I had queer and trans, SWANA, and Armenian teachers teach me how to dance, like all those things that I hadn't had access to. So I brought that in as well. I just love including it all. And it's all because of caffeine.
Is it really? Because I feel like some of that is just really inherent to you. Like that's who you are. Speaking of inherent, I think the first time I ever saw you perform, you were coming out of a fanny pack.
So
it's very like inherent dadness to you. Dad. So I know you have how many children?
23.
Okay. Yes. What does that look like for you? Like what does it mean to be a drag parent?
It's the greatest honor and pleasure of my whole life. I love my kids. What it means for me is really unconditional love and support. And I different parents do different things or different ways of having children. I like all of my kids to ask me. I don't like go out and ask because I want it to be of their own volition and their own agency. That's very, very important to me.
I love that.
And I like to do things like just support them. They'll bounce a number of ideas off of me. And it's all about me encouraging them to lean into what they want and what will bring them a lot of joy and just to be the most themselves. I'll go to a lot of their shows. I am that Mean Girls mom with a video camera.
I've seen it.
You've seen it in person.
Oh no, I've seen
the meme. So my kid put my face on it.
Yeah.
But I just love going to all of their shows and sharing all of their content and like talking about them all the time, true parent style. So that's kind of what it means to me, and really be invested in, how they are. I love checking in on them, like outside of drag and their lives. Yeah. And I have some children who aren't even like specifically in drag or who are kind of drag adjacent.
Okay.
Who are more into music, like Lunchbox and Dolly are my kids as well. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, I love them. Yeah. So and all the kids kind of if it's a kid by kid, if a certain kid needs something that's like different than others, some will want more like number feedback, some will just want claps, some it's all about what the kid
parenting
wants. It's what? And that's on parenting. I'm just giving them everything I didn't receive.
I love that. That's beautiful. Yes. And I think it's beautiful that in a community we can kind of provide that for each other. Is like I've definitely had many parental figures that help me through life, you know, so that's beautiful. Yeah. I do want to talk about, so the drag king scene in San Francisco. I think we've talked about before how there's this kind of misconception that drag kings aren't entertaining or, they don't get booked as much as queens or, and I wanted to ask straight from you, what is your opinion on that? Not just like, that sucks, because, obviously, but why does that happen? Like, why do you think that is the way that it is, and what do we do about it?
Oh, and I will say, I'll start it off by saying the Bay Area drag scene and community, I think is, especially when I go to like Austin International Drag Festival and talk to kings from all over, I think it is and is becoming more and more inclusive, and it's more common to have lots of kings on the lineup, and it's more common for other people to express surprise when there's no king on the lineup, which I think is great. But it still does happen, and my eyebrows do raise, but because there are so many of us. But I think that it's really rooted in a lot of like trans misogyny and patriarchy and every other like Ginny and Urky that there might be in
so the isms in there too. Why not?
All the why not? It's like it's a little bit the affabity of it all, but I really think it's just this sense that that it's not the kind of concept that the transformation isn't as wow wow wee wow is rooted in sexism, probably, where you get all the way if I'm gonna pick one ism. And it's just, I've heard queens be like, oh, it's a king in a Hawaiian shirt, and I'm like, well, there's also the equivalent, but there's the equivalent, but I'm not out here.
Don't get shady on me now.
Yeah,
I love it.
the shady VERA comes out. Woo! I have my juice.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, but also, there's no right or wrong way.
Yeah.
And there's a whole spectrum, and there are kings like my son Lotus Boy who paints to the nth degree, and all of it is wonderful and valid.
Right.
And that is the actual point of it all. But we also, I truly mean this, I have not seen a king performance where I'm not riveted and entertained and deeply into it. And I do feel like sometimes kings feel, and I statement it, sometimes I feel like I have to double time it if I'm in a certain kind of crowd, just to be like, I can do, we can do it too. I can split on your face as well. I can cack, boom. It's just.
You truly can.
I truly can. I truly can. But I think that's what it stems from. And there's also something about us not having kind of access to this world, even though we've been around for forever. If you go to dragkinghistory.com, which is an amazing resource, there's a whole timeline for since the umpty of time, since the fifth dynasty of blah blah blah. There's been, there are kings who have dedicated their lives, like Moby Dick, who's amazing too, documenting kings throughout history. And in the 90s, there was an amazing scene in New York, and the Venus Boys. Anyway, I could go on, but I love it. We've been going on for a long time, and there are really epic kings. Then we've always been amazing and killing it, and I think I'm just delighted that the shift is now happening.
Yeah, and because I feel like part of the entertainment of drag, right, is playing with gender norms. Yeah. And like you, finding yourself as a trans person through drag and being able to express yourself. But I do think that there was this kind of trend of drag for a while, right? That was really rooted in haha, it's funny to be a man dressed as a woman, right? Yeah. And that has its own, so now I feel like there is, and maybe I could be right, I'm not a drag person, but I feel like there's a shift that's going from it being about the kick in the pants, like, oh my god, this man is dressed as a woman, to the true performance art of it being drag, know? And every king that I've seen who is your child, I will say, has absolutely knocked it out of the park in terms of set, costume, performance,
My babies.
So tell us a little bit more about your personal gender journey. You said, you identify as trans, non-binary. A lot of people in the non-binary community, sometimes people identify as trans. Some people don't. They're just, I'm non-binary. Yeah. Where do you fall on that?
Both okay. Yeah. And that was, I will say I'm also in one of my lives, I'm the lead volunteer trainer on the LGBT National Hotline. And, we don't share anything about any call, but this is so kind of generic. You know what I mean? I can share this. A caller once called me asking if they were trans or non-binary, and we have a glossary. And I said, we don't tell people which one. We kind of talk about, how do you feel? Is a pronoun calling to you? How do you feel when you think about gender identity and expression? No. How are you feeling about your gender? And so I ended up reading and we talked about how everyone has a specific, their own definition, but I just read the definition of trans and non-binary to this caller over and over again, because they just wanted me to read it over and over again. And I was like, I will sit here and read this to you.
That's a good Virgo
back and forth. Yes, absolutely. Take it from the top. And I read that, and I had already kind of felt both. But reading them, I was really like, yep, they both apply. Mm-hmm. They both apply. And it's been a journey from like, the first person who asked me if I wanted to use they pronouns was one of my sons. And I know, I was slow this boy, too much. And I was like, oh, I do. And this is how I came out as queer as well. Mm-hmm. In college, not like people are hinting to me, but like important people in my life have really helped me realize things. Like I thought I was the ally rep at college. I went to Wellesley, and I was the ally rep because I was like, all of my friends are lesbians. I'm gonna be so supportive and be the ally rep on the gay union. And then a girl asked me out, and I was like, absolutely yes. It's really. Everyone was like, Vera, do you know? And I was like, yes, I do know that she just asked me out. I need to have another role. And then I became the secretary. But so that was really powerful for me. And then thinking about what both of them mean, and they just both apply. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said you found it through drag.
Yeah.
What was that process like for you?
Speaking of another story that will stick with me forever, I was I was performing at, I think it was even like a Rue screening, and then they were doing like a little Q&A with us at the end to be like cute, to ask us and about how we felt about drag, and if we would go on Drag Race. And I was like, I don't think this is but I said something like, I never want to take the beard off. And then I was leaving the venue, leaving it, right? End of the night, just like now, probably a remnant of a drink in hand, a Diet Coke. And the security guard, who would then become one of my drag children, said to me, don't take it off. And I was like, and so even when I do take it off, I don't take it off.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I do.
It was like a penny. You could have heard a pin drop in my mind. I was like, don't take it off.
I'm imagining an Ally McBeal-esque number.
Hey, truly, I was like, the whole room disappeared. The trans god spoke to me. No, but I was like, don't take it off. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for, sharing your experience and everything on here. It's
pleasure.
You're so hilarious. Like, I love, I really want a t-shirt that says the affabery of it all. I really do. Like, that was great.
We'll make it.
I do like to ask everybody,
yes,
what is your trans agenda?
What is my trans agenda? Hello. My trans agenda is for all trans people to feel comfortable and safe. Full stop. And, I could add on, have freedom of expression, be able to express themselves joyously through whatever means, whether that's performance or otherwise. But really the comfort and the safety, especially in these times, is just where I'm at. It's what I lift up on the hotline a lot. It's what I think about, when I'm thinking about health equity and health access for my job or for my previous job, with youth experiencing homelessness. It's all about comfort and safety for everyone. And that's just the number 1 and 1.
I love that. Doing the work.
Doing the work.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks.
I want to do this all the time.
Okay, yeah.
What does mean?
Trans individuals face unique challenges every day. From accessing healthcare to navigating legal systems, it is crucial that we work towards creating a society that is inclusive and supportive of people of all gender identities. This means advocating for policies and practices that prioritize the health and well-being of trans individuals, as well as challenging discriminatory attitudes and behaviors where they exist. By coming together to support and uplift trans voices, we can create a brighter and more equitable future for everyone. Thank you for listening, and let us continue to work towards a world where trans individuals can thrive. Follow us on all social media platforms at TransClinique, and don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button.